This is the story of a man named Stanley. Stanley worked for a company in a big building where he was employee number 427. Employee number 427's job was simple. He sat at his desk in room 427 and he pushed buttons on a keyboard.
Como yo.
Orders came to him through a monitor on his desk, telling him what buttons to push, how long to push them, and in what order. This is what employee 427 did every day of every month of every year. And although others might have considered it soul-rending, Stanley relished every moment that the orders came in, as though he had been made exactly for this job. And Stanley was happy. And then one day, something very peculiar happened. Something that would forever change Stanley. Something he would never quite forget. He had been at his desk for nearly an hour when he realized that not one single order had arrived on the monitor for him to follow. No one had showed up to give him instructions, call a meeting, or even say hi. Never in all his years at the company had this happened, this complete isolation. Something was very clearly wrong. Shocked, frozen solid, Stanley found himself unable to move for the longest time. But as he came to his wits and regained his senses, he got up from his desk and stepped out of his office.
Y soy yo. Espérate que la sensibilidad está rarilla. Controles. Atrás, izquierda, saltar. Interactuar, agacharse. Ok. Sensibilidad del mouse. Un 3 estaría bien. Sí.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the
A ver, déjame bajo el juego. Ahí está bien.
meeting room. Perhaps he had simply
Un poquito más. Ahí.
missed a memo.
¿Dónde se habrán ido, no? Supuestamente.
No matter how hard Stanley looked, he couldn't find a trace of his co-workers.
No, no encuentro. Está narrando lo que estoy haciendo literal, ¿no?
Stanley went around touching every
Sí.
little thing in the office.
Ok,
It
eso
didn't
me
make a
gusta.
single difference, nor did it advance the story in any way.
Sí, ya sé que no sirve de nada, pero... Oh, apagué la compu. Vámonos. Cada que presiono la tecla se escucha en el juego, qué loco. Bueno. Supongo que sigo avanzando, ¿no?
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
Cruzar la de izquierda. No.
This was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it.
Admirando, obviamente.
Yes, truly a room worth admiring. It had really been worth the detour after all, just to spend a few moments here in this immaculate, beautifully constructed room. Stanley simply stood here, drinking it all in.
No puedo.
But eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left.
Nope.
Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't 5 years ago.
Stanley era muy malo para las indicaciones, un poquito, sí. No te voy a hacer caso y lo sabes, ¿verdad?
Look, Stanley, I think perhaps we've gotten off on the wrong foot here. I'm not your enemy, really, I'm not.
No, no lo eres, pero...
Investing your trust in someone else can be difficult.
Exacto, no confío en
The fact
ti.
is that the story has been about nothing but you all this time. There's someone you've been neglecting, Stanley. Someone you've forgotten about. Please, stop trying to make every decision by yourself.
¿Por qué
I'm
no?
not asking for me, I'm asking for her.
¿Por quién? Por
This
ella.
is it, Stanley. Your chance to redeem yourself. To put your work aside. To let her back into your life. She's been waiting.
¿Quién no estaba esperando? Ok.
That's her, Stanley. You
No.
need to be the one to do this. To reach out to her. If you can truly place your faith in another,
No puedo.
pick up the phone.
No. No quiero.
As Stanley picked up the phone, a white light engulfed him, filling him not just with radiance, but with hope. Hope for a life reunited one... Wait. Oh, goodness. Stanley, did you just unplug the phone? That
Sí.
wasn't supposed to be a choice. How did you do that?
No
You
sé.
actually chose incorrectly. I didn't even know that was possible. Let
¿En
me
serio?
double check.
A ver.
Oh, it's definitely here, clear as day. Stanley picks up the phone,
No.
to his apartment where he finds his wife, and the two pledge themselves to one
Oh,
another.
eso sí me interesa.
Then, fade to white, roll credits.
Ok.
Picking up the phone is actually somehow an incorrect course of action. How is that even possible?
No
None
sé.
of these decisions were supposed to mean anything. I don't understand. How on earth are you making meaningful choices? What did you... Wait a second. Did I just see... No, that's not possible. I can't
¿Qué?
believe it. How had I not noticed it sooner?
¿Qué cosa?
You're not Stanley. You're a real person.
Obvio.
I can't believe I was so mistaken. This is why you've been able to make correct and incorrect choices.
Ajá.
To think I've been letting you run around in this game for so long.
Sí.
If you made any more wrong choices, you might have negated it entirely.
Ajá.
It's as though you completely ignored even the most basic safety
Exactamente.
protocol for real-world decision-making. Or did you not grasp the severity of the situation? Well,
Me la
I don't want
pela.
that kind of risk on my watch. I'm going to stop the game for a moment.
No,
so we can
no.
educate you properly on safe
No, por
decision-making
favor,
in the
no.
real world.
No lo
Please
hagas.
observe this helpful instructional video.
No lo veas. No, no quiero.
Choice. It's the best part of being a real person. But if used incorrectly, can also be the most dangerous. For example, in this scenario, a hypothetical real person named Rupert has a choice. He could invent a machine that eliminates food shortages across the world to make life better for all people. Or he could spend years of hard work forgetting how to read. Which choice would you make? Remember that unlike here, the real world makes sense, and at no time should you make a choice that does not conform to rational logic. If you find yourself speaking with a person who does not make sense, in all likelihood, that person is not real. Allow the person to finish their thought, then provide an excuse why you cannot continue talking. Turn to a partner and practice saying, "My goodness, is it 4:30? I'm supposed to be having a back, sack, and crack." Excellent.
No me interesa. ¿Qué hago? Por cierto. Estoy capturando la pantalla y a lo mejor se nota. Ahí está.
Choices on a regular basis is the best part to a healthy decision-making process. Most medical professionals recommend making at least 8 choices per day. Do you make more than 8?
No tomo ni
And
una.
finally, if you begin to wonder if your choices are actually meaningful and whether you'll ever make a significant contribution to the world, just remember that in the vast infiniteness of space, your thoughts and problems are materially insignificant, and the feeling should subside. At this time, your instructor will guide you in an exercise to test and reinforce the material covered in this video.
Ah, welcome back. You may have noticed that this room has begun to deteriorate as a result of narrative contradiction.
Ajá.
Don't worry. Now that you're properly informed on good decision-making, we're going to revisit a choice you made just a few minutes ago and see what the correct thing to do would have been. This way,
Ok.
please.
Por aquí no. Era la habitación del teléfono y empezó a buguearse. Ok. Entonces nos regresamos, supongo.
Now that we know your choices are meaningful, we can't have you jumping off the platform and dying. Imagine the main character dying senselessly halfway through the story.
No, me tienen atrapado, no me puedo matar.
We just need to get you home as soon as possible before the narrative contradiction gets any worse. Unfortunately, it seems this place is not well equipped to deal with reality.
Bueno. Esto no está abierto, sí. ¿Qué quieres? Que me vaya a la otra puerta, ¿verdad?
Almost there. You'll take the door on the left, back to the correct ending. The story will have resolution once again, and you'll be home free in the real
Ajá.
world.
Pero si no quiero que...
Now remember, all you need to do is behave exactly as Stanley would. That means choosing responsibly and always putting the story
Okay.
first. I'm quite sure you'll be up to the task. Just follow my lead and you'll be fine. All right. When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left. No! Why did you do that? Quickly, hurry back in the other direction. Perhaps we're not too late.
No, ya no me van a dejar. Oh, creo que ya lo rompí. El sonido se escucha bugueado.
Oh, it's ruined. I can't believe after everything we talked about that my story, you've destroyed my
Me
work.
importa
For
un...
what? What did you get out of that? What did you
Porque
think
sí.
was so special about seeing the game undone?
Porque me parece
Like so much
importante.
garbage. It's worthless now. And what am I supposed to do? Even if there were a way to continue, would it be worth it? To know that my story is now incorrect?
Esperen, ya llegó mi pedido. Ahí vengo. Uy, voy a tener que hacer una pausa para comer. ¿Qué podemos hacer? Está muy interesante el juego, la verdad, pero vemos un video de 10 minutos mientras como y ya. Video de Gref no estaría mal, 30 grados estamos, qué locura. Ok. Vamos a parar just chatting. Y listo.
¿Qué debería adivinar el Tesla de Rayo McQueen?
No tienes cojones.
A ver, es un coche de 1000 caballos. Si no le pones un vinilo, te estás cagando encima.
Totalmente, 100%.
Tienes que hacerlo, sí o sí.
Hazlo.
Mi Tesla Model S Plate de Rayo McQueen. ¡Adelante! No sé ni cómo reaccionar a esto, chavales.
La verdad es que sí estuvo medio gacho que le pusiera logos de Science, de Ethics, todo eso. Yo le hubiera puesto, o sea, lo original.
No sé ni lo que estoy viendo.
Y luego el logo de los que los viniló, de lo que lo viniló está horrible también. Pero bueno, ya lo decidió él. Es pura envidia.
Lo que vamos a hacer,
La verdad.
ya que coincide el día perfecto, es literalmente ir al Civitas Metropolitano, donde son las finales de la Kings y la Queens League. Vamos a pilotar el Tesla de Rayo McQueen y a ver la gente lo que opina.
O sea, va a subir gente extraña.
Ahí está el estadio al fondo. Bueno, se viene. Mi gente, ya estamos en el Civitas Metropolitano. Vamos a intentar grabar, bueno, lo que salga un poquito, lo que Dios quiera. Y si alguien se quiere subir, aquí creo que hay hueco. Madre mía, la policía.
Llegamos y lo primero que hay poli.
Nos va a ver la policía con el Rayo McQueen, con los ojos y todo llegando. Va a ser. De aquí salimos presos, chavales. Oh, qué plano más bonito el de aquí arriba. ¡Dios! ¡Esta es la polla! ¡Vamos, sí! Me voy a inventar que soy un trabajador de la Kings League y he venido con el Tesla para divertir a la gente. Y que mi función es dar vueltas por aquí. Por eso la policía me va a pegar un tiro en la cabeza. ¿Qué tal, chavales?
¡Vete unos trompos! ¡Oh, el Rayo McQueen! No veas qué guapo, tío.
Una foto de Gref. El Tesla está guapísimo.
¿Os gusta o no? Está bien hilado, ¿eh? Hola, ¿eh?
¡Te amo!
¿Sois 4? Tengo 4 huecos.
¿Pensabais que al llegar a este sitio os pasaría esto?
No. Estabas aquí comiendo muy tranquilos.
Dime. Increíble que la peña esté metiendo las cosas en el coche para subirse con este caprón.
Gref, te esperamos.
Venga, ahora vuelvo.
¡Oh, que nos va a subir! ¡Que nos va a subir!
Tronque para otros.
Qué
Ahora
perro,
venimos,
güey.
chicos, ahora venimos. Va. Hay que ser cabrón para venir al Civitas con la camiseta del Barça, ¿eh? Hay que ir apoyando a gigantes. Mira, porcinos. A estos no los subimos, ¿eh? No, porcinos. Se la ha complicado, porcinos, lo siento. Hoy no vamos con porcinos.
Me acabas creo. Has vista de Gref. Un random bloque.
Estás en directo ahora mismo. ¿Están en directo? No, esto es la tecnología. No, pero es un vídeo. Hay una cámara aquí, hay otra aquí, hay otra aquí. Esto es una locura. Bueno, ¿qué queréis? ¿Queréis probar la aceleración un poquito? Sí. Así como el que no quiere la cosa. Sí. ¿Sabéis montar alguna vez en un Tesla?
Está rayado, está súper rayado el Gref, güey.
Pero sí, en la feria. Sí, donde trabajé. No, aquí, pego un acelerón y me la pelo. Va. Pero tenemos que hacer el juego de algo, tío, de estar diciendo algo. No sé si habéis visto el vídeo que empieza con las vocales. ¿Qué preferís? ¿Vamos Science o Kame Kameha? No, un Kame, ¿no? Que queda más guay al final. Vale, hacemos Kame, Jame, Ja y en el Ja yo le tiro. ¿Vale? Espérate que no quiero atropellar a nadie. 1, 2, 3. Kame, Jame, Ja. ¡Tío, que se cruza! ¿Dónde vas tú? Que se cruza.
Me ha recordado el Furious Baco esto.
Sí, no, es como una atracción que de repente no te lo esperas.
Yo voy a burrada.
La peña corriendo a por el puto Tesla. ¡Ah, que hay que sprintar! ¡Hay que sprintar!
Vale.
¿De Gref ya puedo?
Se está empezando a liar. ¿Te quieres subir?
Sí, por favor.
Sí, venga.
Se
Está subiendo ya la familia
¿Puedo
sin
subir?
decir nada. Y se sube la gente. Bueno, ¿os gusta? ¿Lo habéis visto por fuera?
Hombre.
Rayo McQueen, ¿no?
Te voy a hacer una pregunta. ¿Qué va a pasar con Pop?
¿Cómo? Vosotros sabéis que este coche acelera, ¿no? Un poco.
Sí.
Yo con los asientos blancos, güey, le llegan a ensuciar eso y se emperra.
He visto los vídeos.
¿Y queréis probarlo o no?
Hombre.
Creo que sí, creo que me he visto el vídeo.
¿Sí? Pero es que no le vais a Science, no puedo acelerar porque no vais con
Yo sí voy
Science.
con Science.
¿En serio? Pero si llevas el barrio escrito en la cara. Bueno, mira, hacemos un aceleroncillo tonto, un poquito de diversión. Si gritamos todos, ¡vamos Science! ¿Vale?
Como tú digas, ¿eh?
Y ahí le
¡Vamos,
doy.
Science!
Venga, lo hacemos.
3.
2, 1. ¡Vamos Science! ¿Estáis bien? ¿Algún herido? ¿Todo bien? ¿Otro? ¿Por qué? No, ya no puedo acelerar más. what the fuck y yo. Bueno, es breve pero intenso, ¿lo habéis notado, no?
Sí, sí, sí.
Venga, va.
Muchas gracias,
Chavales, no, ven aquí, de la camiseta de Science. ¿Cómo te llamas?
La neta, qué perro.
Aquí con la camiseta de Science. ¿Te quieres subir en el Tesla conmigo? Sí. ¿Sí? Venga, súbete aquí.
Día de partido, mis latidos hacen boom boom sobre...
Me acabo de encontrar a Aroné y Lidia, que son jugadoras de la Science. Ahora vengo. Bueno, chavales, un momento de tranquilidad. Se está liando, ¿eh? ¿Lleváis todos el cinturón? Sí. Vale, muy importante que llevéis el cinturón. ¿Por qué has venido con la camiseta de Science si no hemos clasificado, tío?
Bueno, da igual, para apoyar.
¿Con quién vais hoy?
Está complicado, Está complicado,
Espero que nadie diga porcinos, porque si no os bajáis.
No, es lo fácil.
Pero vamos a ver si esto... ¿Si esto acelera o qué? 1, 2, 3. ¡Came!
No mames, casi se le va el celular, güey. Mira, casi, güey. A la madre.
¿Qué tal? ¿Estáis vivos? Bien. Sentimiento raro, ¿no? Sí. Espero que apoyéis a Science después de esta experiencia.
Hombre,
¿Os gusta el diseño por fuera? Sí, está guapo. No, es que no, chicos, es que esto no se puede controlar. Es que de verdad, es imposible. Muchas gracias, de Grecia. ¿Tú qué?
Hola.
Se sube ahí. Hola.
A ver, no puede ser que yo aparte la vista, vuelva y haya 4 personas aquí que no conozco.
¿Quieres pan mismo?
Sí.
¿Qué?
No, bro. Aroné y Lidia, subiros. A ver, ¿quién se ha subido al coche? ¿Se ha subido Lidia? Lidia, ¿vas a seguir en las Science? Y se ríe.
Yo sí, lo digo hoy por la noche.
¿Tú sí, no, Aro?
Sí.
Vale, perfecto. Y tenemos aquí a
Marcos.
Marcos y Geray, que eres hermano de Aroné.
Exacto.
Perfecto, tío. Cada vez empieza a haber más gente y está siendo ya raro, ¿eh? Se nos está empezando a complicar.
Estoy sudando.
¿Estáis nerviosos?
Sí, un poco.
No rayéis porque esto tampoco ocurre mucho, ¿eh?
No.
La idea es hacer un aceleroncillo así divertido.
Vale.
Uno de estos que dices.
A ver.
Pero tenemos que hacer un grito para acelerar, porque si no os quedáis callados y esto no tiene sentido.
Pues la O.
Tiene que ser O.
O.
Vamos, ¿eh?
Venga.
¿Sí?
Sí.
Venga. 1, 2 y 3.
O sea, es que se van hasta atrás. Está loco.
Hola, buenas tardes, de verdad, yo no sé qué está pasando aquí. Vamos a ganar el tercer split, ¿eh? Y nos la pela.
Sí,
Va.
va.
¡Ah, no me cierres! ¡Ah! ¡Ah! Pues no me ha cerrado la ventanilla, me ha cortado por la mitad. Pero qué locura, estoy súper saturado, que acabo de... La estamos liando. Y eso que todavía falta 1 hora para que abran las puertas, madre de Dios. Todavía no sé ni cómo no me han detenido aquí.
Algunos centímetros más tarde.
Me voy a quitar ya, perdóname. Sí. Ya, es que la estamos liando demasiado. Te pido disculpas,
¡Madre, tía! ¿Tu matas es un arrancón o qué? ¿Qué dices, tío?
El Polo y el ingeniero y el Cacho, ¿qué tal? ¿Cómo estáis? Pues está ahí el puto tanque, es que esto es surrealista, tío.
¿Qué? ¿Qué es un tanque ahí?
Hostia, pero esto es de TikTok. Guau, 3 millones mínimo, cabrón.
3 millones de... ¿Sí o no? ¿Lo has dicho?
Ah, es cuando le filtró el coche.
Nos hemos tenido que meter dentro del metropolitano del Civitas porque nos ha llamado la atención la policía, había mucha gente, no tenía sentido. Si dejamos el Tesla aquí, literalmente todos los que lleguen van a reaccionar a él. Podemos pillar la reacción de los presis. Claro, me gustaría subirlos a todos los presidentes de la Kings y presidentas de la Queens y tal, pero es que, chavales, esto es una puta liada, que flipas. Chavales, ¿cómo vamos a estar animando hoy? Así, mira. Con la banderita de Science, que me la han dado ellos. Una pena que no hayamos clasificado. Hola, bajen, por favor, bajen.
Hombre, Greg.
Bajen, por favor.
¿Tú alto aquí? Qué raro.
¿Qué tal, Mario? ¿Reacciona a Rayo para miniatura, sí?
Ah, está guapo tú.
Qué malditos.
Porque en vez de las pistas que
Me parece una auténtica barbaridad. Es una obra de arte, ¿eh? Pero claro,
Mira los ganadores.
Se lo tengo que quitar.
Ah, vale, está bien.
¿Soy gilipollas o qué, tío? Que ni me saludas si te montas en el coche, tío.
Y te lo llegas a llevar, ¿y qué?
Xbuyer campeón hoy, campeón hoy Xbuyer. Me dice el Buyer, arráncalo. ¡Agri, tío! ¡Ya me lo está filtrando, tío! ¡No lo filtres, tío! ¡Que todavía no lo he subido, cabrón! Pur, sate así, cabrón. Ahora sí. Ahora sí.
Cocheta de pajas y todo. Camacho.
No mames, pero
Esto es un Tesla, Camacho. Oye,
¡No!
¿puedo subir a eso?
mira, ha llegado en un transfer ella sola. ¿Por qué
Sale en todos lados. Es como se dice. Imposible que no salga.
¿Pero qué es esto?
has llegado tú sola, ¿no? En un transfer.
Mira, Gemita.
Me ha pegado de ti.
Reacciona, pon cara de miniatura.
Pero porque llego tarde. Me ha pegado de ti.
Tú sola, ¿no?
¿Qué dijo?
Sola, pero porque llego tarde. Me ha pegado de ti.
Reacciona, pon cara de miniatura.
Oye, está guapísimo, ¿eh?
¿Quieres de porcinas? Va, venga.
¡Arriba, Portina! Si quieres algún día que te lo cuide como un perrito, pues te lo puedo cuidar. Yo te hago el favor.
Vamos bajando de ahí ya, ¿eh?
¿Quieres que te lo suba a Andorita?
No, que me haces una gemitada y todavía no,
Ya te lo
no estrellamos ahí.
Si metes hoy el penalti, te lo dejo.
¿Y si no?
Y si no pide,
Si no metes el penalti, me tienes que regalar una camiseta de porcinos
¿vale?
o porcinas, me da igual, para mí,
Vale.
Gref, dorsal número 17, 11, 22 o el que tú quieras,
¿Vale?
para poder quemarla en directo.
Acepto el trato. Si no, me lo quedo un día entero para grabar yo contenido con él y hacer lo que quiera.
Esto es raro, es raro. Acaba de llegar Gemita hace 5 minutos y ya estoy haciendo una apuesta cuando la última salió muy mal. Que me disfracé de cerdito. Va, te lo dejo para una vuelta y tú la camiseta. Va.
24 horas.
24, pues bueno, va a fallar, da igual.
¡Voy dentro!
No manches, si la...
Chicos, hasta aquí el vídeo ha sido de locos o los
Listo.
vídeos. Yo qué cojones sé lo que habremos grabado y subido. Como siempre os digo, apoyadlo, esto es una puta locura. Es que ya habla y todo, es increíble. Si apoyáis mucho el vídeo, quizás la próxima
Vamos a darle
idea es
like.
ponerlo a la velocidad máxima. Obviamente no en la calle ni en autovía, sino en un sitio... Porque esto pilla más de 300 kilómetros por hora. Yo jamás he sentido lo que es ir a esa velocidad en el coche. De verdad que no, lo prometo. Y que sepáis que lo de sortearlo puede llegar a pasar. Os quiero mucho. Se despide el Gref.
¿Cómo vas a sortear eso, güey? Yo me lo quedaría. Está bien que tenga mucho dinero, pero yo me lo quedaría y regalaría a otro, no sé. Pero siento que ya es too much. Vamos a limpiar aquí. Vamos a hacer la transición. Y... vamos a ir recogiendo, tirando. Comí como un dios. Gracias a Dios. Voy a explotar. Nunca te traen servilletas, no entiendo. Escuchen el ASMR, ¿eh? Más. Me acabo de congelar la boca, pero bueno. A ver, voy a tirar esto. Una limpiadita. Siempre viene bien. Y le seguimos a romper las reglas, ¿o qué? Vamos a darle. De una.
How can I go back to that? I can't erase that knowledge. I'll have to live with
Espérate, tengo que poner esto a ver. Sí.
it forever. Reliving its impossibility forever. I couldn't live that way. Is it better to shut the game down entirely? To willingly destroy all of my work? I don't know.
Solo quiero
What do I do?
romperte la madre.
No, I have to. I have to shut the game down.
¿Por qué? No.
I have to.
No. What?
I'm here. I'm
¿Dónde?
still here in this pile of rubbish. With you. You. Who thought you were so clever.
Sí soy.
Now look where we are. My entire game is destroyed.
Me parece
It was the
perfecto.
only thing in the world that was mine, and you've run it into the ground. What, did you think that would be funny?
Sí.
You just had to see?
Sí.
Didn't I impress upon you how important it was to be like Stanley?
No.
He actually knows how to do what I tell him to. He understands that if I say to do something, there's a damn good reason for it.
Pero yo no.
Hasn't even occurred to you, had it? That there's a world outside of you? You're a child.
Oh.
Oh, my story. If you'd just gone through the door on the left, you would have seen it. There was a whole underground facility. You would have destroyed it and been victorious. It would have been so perfect. I worked so hard on it. I tried so hard to make...
¿Qué pasó?
Behave exactly as Stanley would. That means choosing responsibly and always putting the story first. I'm quite sure you'll be up to the task. Just follow my lead and you'll be fine. All right. When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
Hermano, es que no lo vas a lograr.
No! Why did you do that? Quickly, hurry back.
Oh, me vas a obligar, hijo de perra.
Choosing responsibly and always putting the story first. I'm quite sure you'll be up to the task. Just follow my lead and you'll be fine.
No quiero, no quiero.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left. No! Why did you do that? Quickly.
¡Ayuda! Me tienes secuestrado.
Behave exactly as Stanley would. That means choosing responsibly and always putting the story first. I'm quite sure you'll be up to the task. Just follow my lead and you'll be fine. All right. When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
Ay, está bien. Me está obligando.
Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might find an answer there.
Uf, qué pereza. Room closet.
Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
A ver. No me voy a meter ahí. Nope. Bueno.
Stepping inside his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. Shocked, unraveled, Stanley wondered in disbelief who orchestrated this, until he saw the door with a voice receiver next to it. Surely behind this door lay all the answers to his questions. And beyond all probability, he knew the passcode. He had seen it on his boss's computer just last week. Nightshark 115. Was this the code to open the door? Would it still work? There was only one way to find out.
No lo hagas, Stanley.
Never to speak up, but now he would draw from within himself the courage to face the unknown.
Eres un NPC. Tienes que lograr no serlo.
The code.
Ah, ¿cómo? Tiburón 115.
Stanley spoke the code. Night Shark 115. He spoke it into the receiver, right there on the wall.
Tiburón blanco 115, no sé qué habrás dicho.
I'm sorry, is there a problem? You didn't mishear me, did you?
No me digas que tengo que activar el micrófono.
Please speak the code into the receiver. Otherwise we can't get on with the story. This is a crucial step. Okay, fine, you're not gonna do it, but you know what? It's pretty humiliating to bring you this far, only for you to suddenly decide you have better things to do. I asked you for this one single thing, for your respect. The kind of respect Stanley shows for his choices. He knows what it means to take a story seriously. If you didn't want to see what I had to show you, then why did you come here? You had a choice, you know. You could have gone through the door on the right. You could have done whatever the hell you wanted over there. Why did you come this way? Speak. Say something.
Porque tú me obligaste, maldito imbécil.
When Stanley came to a set of two open doors, he entered the door on his left. Stanley? Hello? Are you... Is everything okay? Stanley, please. I need you to make a choice. I need you to walk through the door. Are you listening to me? Can you hear me? Is everything all right? Stanley, this is important.
Esto no ha acabado. Esto no ha acabado. Es broma.
Whatever choice you make is just fine. They're both correct. You cannot be wrong here. We can work together. I'll accept whatever you do. I simply need you to take that step forward, please. Choose. Do something. Anything. This is more important than you can ever know.
No, me siento mal.
The story needs it. So, you hear me?
Sí.
You there? You listening to this? Stanley?
Sí, lo estoy escuchando. Yo soy Stanley.
Okay. It's okay, I can wait.
No.
You need time to decide. Time to make sure your choice is correct. That is the best choice. That's all right. I'll wait for you to decide what's the right thing to do. Take as much time as you need. All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Ok.
When Stanley came to a set of two open doors, he entered the door on his left.
¿Qué hora es aquí?
Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office. Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
No manches.
But Stanley just couldn't do it. He considered the possibility of facing his boss. Admitting he had left his post during work hours, he might be fired for that. And in such a competitive economy, why had he taken that risk? All because he believed everyone had vanished? His boss would think he was crazy. And then something occurred to Stanley. Maybe, he thought to himself, maybe I am crazy. All of my co-workers blinking mysteriously out of existence in a single moment for no reason at all? None of it made any logical sense. And as Stanley pondered this, he began to make other strange observations. For example, Why couldn't he see his feet when he looked down? Why did doors close automatically behind him wherever he went?
¿Es cierto?
And for that matter, these rooms were starting to look pretty familiar.
Todos
Were they
tienen
simply
esto.
repeating? No, Stanley said to himself, this is all too strange. This can't be real. And at last, he came to the conclusion that had been on the tip of his tongue. He just hadn't found the words for it. I'm dreaming, he yelled. This is all a dream. Oh, what a relief Stanley felt to have finally found an answer, an explanation. His co-workers weren't actually gone. He wasn't going to lose his job. He wasn't crazy after all. And he thought to himself, I suppose I'll wake up soon. I'll have to go back to my boring real-life job pushing buttons. I may as well enjoy this while I'm still lucid. So, he imagined himself flying and began to gently float above the ground. Then he imagined himself soaring through space on a magical starfield, and it too appeared. It was so much fun, and Stanley marveled that he had still not woken up. How was he remaining so lucid? And then perhaps the strangest question of them all entered Stanley's head. One he was amazed he hadn't asked himself sooner. Why is there a voice in my head dictating everything that I'm doing and thinking? Now the voice was describing itself being considered by Stanley, who found it particularly strange. I'm dreaming about a voice describing me, thinking about how it's describing my thoughts, he thought. And while he thought it all very odd and wondered if this voice spoke to all people in their dreams, the truth was that, of course, this was not a dream. How could it be? Was Stanley simply deceiving himself, believing that if he's asleep, he doesn't have to take responsibility for himself? Stanley is as awake right now as he's ever been in his life. Now, hearing the voice speak these words was quite a shock to Stanley. After all, he knew for certain, beyond a doubt, that this was in fact a dream. Did the voice not see him float and make the magical stars just a moment ago? How else would the voice explain all that? This voice was a part of himself too. Surely, if he could just... He would prove it. He would prove that he was in control, that this was a dream. So he closed his eyes gently, and he invited himself to wake up. He felt the cool weight of the blanket on his skin. The
Está soñando.
The fresh air of a world outside this one. Let me wake up, he thought to himself. I'm through with this dream. I wish it to be over. Let me go back to my job. Let me continue pushing the buttons. Please, it's all I want. I want my apartment and my wife and my job. All I want is my life exactly the way it's always been. My life is normal. I am normal. Everything will be fine. I am okay. Stanley began screaming. Please, someone, wake me up. My name is Stanley. I have a boss. I have an office. I am real. Please, just someone tell me I am real. I must be real. I must be. Can anyone hear my voice? Who am I? Who am I? And everything went black.
¿Qué?
This is the story of a woman named Mariella. Mariella woke up on a day like any other. She arose, got dressed, gathered her belongings, and walked to her place of work. But on this particular day, her walk was interrupted by the body of a man who had stumbled through town talking and screaming to himself, and then collapsed dead on the sidewalk. And although she would soon turn to go call for an ambulance, for just a few brief moments, she considered the strange man. He was obviously crazy. This much she knew. Everyone knows what crazy people look like. And in that moment, she thought to herself how lucky she was to be normal. I am sane. I am in control of my mind. I know what is real and what isn't. It was comforting to think this, and in a certain way, seeing this man made her feel better. But then she remembered the meeting she had scheduled for that day, the very important people whose impressions of her would affect her career, and by extension, the rest of her life. She had no time for this, so it was only a moment that she stood there, staring down at the body. And then she turned and ran.
¿Qué? 427 429 430.
Workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
A ver, supongo que si ya no...
He came to a set of 2 open doors. He entered the door on his left.
Ya no voy a tener más opciones, ¿o sí?
Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office. Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
Oh my god. ¿Qué? Están cambiados. Algo está pasando. Me da mucho miedo. Baño ejecutivo. Tengo el presentimiento... El dinero se mantiene, pero... El dinero se mantiene, pero es tuyo, claro. So, eso es una propuesta de amor. ¿Qué? Voy primero aquí, que está más turbio. Arriba. Tan, taran, taran. Oh my god, están susurrando Stanley, güey. No, no, yo no puedo con eso. Yo no puedo con eso, yo no puedo con eso. Ah, me da mucho, está muy creepy, güey. Está cantando el narrador, ¿no? No sé. Pero hijo Stanley. Ah, ok, ya está aquí. What?
Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. Shocked, unraveled, Stanley wondered in disbelief who orchestrated this. What dark secret was being held from him? What he could not have known was that the keypad behind the boss's desk guarded the terrible truth that his boss had been keeping from him. And so the boss had assigned it an extra secret PIN number. 2845. But of course, yet incredibly, by simply pushing random buttons on the keypad, Stanley happened to input the correct code by sheer luck. Amazing. He stepped into the newly opened passageway.
Ya volví. Pensé que me había llegado alguien a la casa, pero no. Esto se está poniendo como que rarito, ¿no? Un poquito nomás.
Descending deeper into the building, Stanley realized he felt a bit peculiar. It was a stirring of emotion in his chest, as though he felt more free to think for himself, to question the nature of his job. Why did he feel this now, when for years it had never occurred to him? This question would not go unanswered for long. Stanley walked straight ahead through the large door that read Mind Control Facility.
A ver, listo.
Although this passageway had the
Al
word
final sí llegó,
"Sígueme"
vale.
on it, the truth was that at the end of this hall, Stanley would meet his violent death.
Ok, no. ¿No quiero esa parte violenta?
But of course, Stanley thought better of it and realized he simply
Ajá,
had too much to
exactamente.
live for. The lights rose on an enormous room packed with television screens. What horrible secret did this place hold? Stanley thought to himself. Did he have the strength to find out?
¿Qué está pasando?
Now the monitors jumped to life. Their true nature revealed.
Oh my god, son todos los trabajadores. Espérate, este está rojo.
Stanley's co-workers. The lives of so many individuals reduced to images on a screen.
Ah, no, son pantallas de las vidas.
Eternally monitored in this place where freedom meant nothing.
Fired. Despedido, despedido.
This mind control facility, it was too horrible to believe. It couldn't be true. Had Stanley really been under someone's control all this time? Was this the only reason he was happy with his boring job? That his emotions had been manipulated to accept it blindly? No. He refused to believe it. He couldn't accept it. His own life in someone else's control? Never. It was unthinkable, wasn't it? Was it even possible? Had he truly spent his entire life utterly blind to the world? But here was the proof. The heart of the operation. Controls labeled with emotions. Happy, or sad, or content. Walking, eating, working. All of it monitored and commanded from this very place. And as the cold reality of his past began to sink in, Stanley decided that this machinery would never again exert its terrible power over another human life. For he would dismantle the controls once and for all.
Sale algo. Ok, Tengo que encender la electricidad, supongo. It controls either way.
And when at last he found the source of the room's power, he knew it... Oh, Stanley, you didn't just activate the controls, did you? After they kept you enslaved all these years, you go and you try to take control of the machine for yourself. Is that what you wanted? Control? Oh, Stanley, I applaud your effort, I really do. But you need to understand, there's only so much that machine can do. You were supposed to let it go, turn the controls off, and leave. If you want to throw my story off track, you're going to have to do much better than that. I'm afraid you don't have nearly the power you think you do. For example, and I believe you'll find this pertinent, Stanley suddenly realized he had just initiated the network's emergency detonation system. In the event that this machine is activated without proper DNA identification, nuclear detonators are said to explode, eliminating the entire complex. How long until detonation then? Let's say, 2 minutes. Ah, now this is making things a little more fun, isn't it, Stanley? It's your time to shine. You are the star. It's your story now. Shape it to your heart's desires. Oh, this is much better than what I had in mind. What a shame we have so little time left to enjoy it. Mere moments until the bomb goes off. But what precious moments each one of them is. More time to talk about you, about me, where we're going, what all this means. I barely know where to start. What's that? You'd like to know where your co-workers are? A moment of solace before you're obliterated? All right, I'm in a good mood. You're gonna die anyway. I'll tell you exactly what happened to them. I erased them. I turned off the machine. I set you free. Of course, that was merely in this instance of the story. Sometimes when I tell it, I simply let you sit there in your office forever, pushing buttons endlessly and then dying alone. Other times, I let the office sink into the ground, swallowing everyone inside, or I let it burn to a crisp. I have to say this, though, this version of events has been rather amusing. Watching you try to make sense of everything and take back the control wrested away from you, it's quite rich. I almost hate to see it go. But I'm sure whatever I come up with on the next go-around will be even better. My goodness, only 34 seconds left. But I'm enjoying this so much.
You know
what? To hell with it. I'm going to put some extra time on the clock. Why not? These are precious additional seconds, Stanley. Time doesn't grow on trees. Oh dear me, what's the matter, Stanley? Is it that you have no idea where you're going or what you're supposed to be doing right now? Or did you just assume when you saw that timer that something in this room was capable of turning it off? I mean, look at you. Running from button to button, screen to screen, clicking on every little thing in this room. These numbered buttons, no, these colored ones. Or maybe this big red button, or this door. Everything, anything, something here will save me. Why would you think that, Stanley? That this video game can be beaten? Won? Sold?
Sí.
Do you have any idea what your purpose in this place is?
No, y no me interesa.
Stanley, you're in for quite a disappointment. But here's a spoiler for you. That timer isn't a catalyst to keep the action moving along. It's just seconds ticking away to your death. You're only still playing instead of watching a cutscene because I want to watch you for every moment that you're powerless. To see you made humble. This is not a challenge. It's a tragedy. You wanted to control this world, that's fine. But I'm going to destroy it first, so you can't. Take a look at the clock, Stanley. That's 30 seconds you have left to struggle. 30 seconds until a big boom and then nothing. No ending here, just you being blown to pieces. Will you cling desperately to your frail life, or will you let it go peacefully? Another choice. Make it count. Or don't. It's all the same to me, all a part of the joke. And believe me, I will be laughing at every second of your inevitable life from the moment we fade in until the moment I say, happily ever after.
Okay. The end is never the end. Ok, entonces eso no era el final.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. When Stanley came to a set of
Voy a ir a donde dice escapar.
he entered the door on his left.
Como este me está mintiendo.
Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office. Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office. Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. What could it mean? Stanley wondered aloud. Stanley was in such a rush to get through the story as quickly as possible, he didn't even have a single minute to just let the narrator talk. That kind of anxiety isn't healthy.
No me importa.
So he relaxed for a few moments with some calming New Age music.
¿Qué? ¿Por qué no se abre ahora?
Feeling soothed and rejuvenated, Stanley calmly walked forward into the opened passageway.
Vámonos a escapar de este lugar, por favor. Tenemos que escaparnos.
Stanley walked straight ahead through the large door that read Mind
Nope.
Control Facility. Although this passageway had the word escape written on it, the truth was that at the end of this hall, Stanley would meet his violent death.
No te voy a hacer caso, no confío en ti.
Shut. Stanley still had every opportunity to turn around and get back on track. At this point, Stanley was making a conscious, concerted effort to walk forward and willingly confront his death.
Mentira. Esto sí es escapar. ¿Ves? Yo sabía.
As the machine whirred into motion and Stanley was inched closer and closer to his demise, he reflected that his life had been of no consequence whatsoever. Stanley can't see the bigger picture. He doesn't know the real story, trapped forever in his narrow vision of what this world is. Perhaps his death was of no great loss, like plucking the eyeballs from a blind man. And so he resigned and willingly accepted this violent end to his
Oh my God.
shallow life. Farewell, Stanley.
No, no me voy. ¿Ves? Yo lo elijo.
Farewell, Stanley, cried the narrator, as Stanley was led helplessly into the enormous metal jaws. In a single visceral instant, Stanley was obliterated as the machine crushed every bone in his body, killing him instantly.
Ahí está.
And yet it would be just a few minutes before Stanley would restart the game, back in his office, as alive as ever. What exactly did the narrator think he was going to accomplish? When every path you can walk has been created for you long in advance, death becomes meaningless, making life the same. Do you see now? Do you see that Stanley was already dead from the moment he hit start?
Claro. Computadora de Stanley. Diagrama de la oficina. Que era donde yo trabajaba, ¿no? Y aquí es donde buscaba a la gente. ¿Dónde está la puerta izquierda y derecha? Aquí está, ¿ves? Izquierda, derecha. Pasillo y aquí dice las dos puertas. Archivadores. Siempre estaban abiertos. puerta 1, 2 y 3. Créditos. Estos sí son los verdaderos. No puede ser. Sala de mantenimiento, impresoras. Esto no ha acabado todavía, ¿eh? ¿Qué se escuchó? Uy.
Stanley stood on the roof. Where were all of his co-workers? Oh, I don't know. How about they're throwing a surprise party for him for all his...
Vamos a acabarlo.
Oh, look at these two. How they wish to destroy one another. How they wish to control one another. How they both wish to be free. Can you see? Can you see how much they need one another? No, perhaps not. Sometimes these things cannot be seen. But listen to me. You can still save these two. You can stop the program before they both fail. Push escape and press quit. There's no other way to beat this game.
¿Era en serio o no? A ver. Espera.
¿Alguna vez te sentiste confundido, sin rumbo y sin entender nada de lo que pasa a tu alrededor? Si la respuesta es sí, déjame decirte que hay un videojuego que puede confundirte más todavía. Hot Wheels Barbie Dream Camper. Los videojuegos son una experiencia interactiva, pero también pueden ser una herramienta artística, un medio audiovisual para contar historias, o bueno, todo eso en conjunto. En algunos de ellos siempre existe un cierto poder, y un gran poder conlleva una gran responsabilidad.
La misión,
Ese
¿no?
poder es el del jugador con la propia obra. O sea, en algunos casos vos decidís qué arma usar y cómo administrar tus balas en un enfrentamiento, por ejemplo. Decidís qué respuesta dar a una determinada pregunta, qué edificios destruir, de qué manera probar un martillo. Y en muchos otros casos no existe tanto poder, sino que estamos limitados a lo que los desarrolladores nos permiten hacer en ese entorno virtual. Por ejemplo, The Medium se juega manteniendo presionada la W durante unas 8 horas hasta completarlo. Stanley Parable, un título que salió en octubre de 2013, se ríe de estas cuestiones y las transforma en entretenimiento. Y lo más importante es que lo hace sin que te des cuenta. Ok, pero antes, ¿de qué se trata Stanley Parable?
De nada.
Mucho en detalle, no tengo idea, porque Stanley Parable es una experiencia diferente a un título convencional. Al principio es normal que no entiendas de qué va el juego. Al final es normal que no entiendas de qué va el juego. Hablar sin spoilers sobre esto es muy complicado, pero igualmente no voy a spoilear los finales, aunque sí voy a hablar sobre de qué se trata y dónde está su esencia, por lo que les diría que primero lo jueguen, ya que además es relativamente corto. Desde el menú principal te muestran una especie de oficina. Obviamente de esto no es muy difícil darse cuenta.
Sí, que tú estés controlando a
Lo
alguien.
curioso es lo que el monitor de la computadora está mostrando.
Ay, mira vos, por eso te voy a meter un perma.
Estamos haciendo nuestra propia actividad. Es como si ya hubieses empezado a jugar sin darle al botón de comenzar la partida. Y eso es exactamente lo que está pasando. Hasta la propia pantalla de carga te muestra una especie de advertencia en loop. Never the end is never the. La historia que te proponen es sencilla. Stanley es el empleado número 427 de una compañía que se encuentra en un cierto edificio. Su trabajo consiste básicamente en presionar botones en el teclado y, según nos cuenta el narrador, Stanley disfruta eso. Nos dice que él es feliz haciéndolo. Pero un día, algo extraño ocurre. Las instrucciones dejan de llegar de repente y el protagonista se da cuenta de que todo el edificio está completamente vacío. ¿Qué está pasando?, se pregunta Stanley. Es en ese momento cuando empieza la interacción con el juego. Por ahora, todo bien. Vas caminando por diferentes oficinas y pasillos mientras la voz sigue sonando, intentás abrir alguna que otra puerta, pero nada.
Ufa, de la categoría. Bueno, y es que Stanley Parable.
La cosa empieza a ponerse interesante cuando llegas a esta habitación y el narrador dice lo siguiente.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
Ok, el ser humano toma decisiones por su propia cuenta sin que nadie le diga qué hacer. Por eso, es inevitable que te entre la curiosidad al preguntarte, ¿qué pasaría si no le hago caso al narrador? ¿Qué pasaría si decido por mi propia cuenta y voy por la derecha? ¿Qué pasaría si se me escapa un flechazo? En mi caso, decidí seguir las acciones acordes a la narrativa al principio, pero tengo que admitir que fue difícil aguantar la tentación de hacer lo contrario. También seguí un poco la narrativa porque de alguna manera sabía de lo que me estaba enfrentando y dije, ok, vamos por este camino. La cuestión es que poco a poco, mientras vas avanzando, el narrador te va guiando de cierta manera, describiendo tus acciones. Después de unos minutos, llegué a una parte que verdaderamente me hizo dudar sobre el camino que tenía que tomar.
What he could not have known was that the keypad behind the boss's desk guarded the terrible truth that his boss had been keeping from him. And so the boss had assigned it an extra secret pin number,
2845.
845. But of course, Stanley couldn't possibly have known this.
Después de escuchar eso, llegó el momento de hacerme la pregunta. ¿Se notará la diferencia si mejoro los frenos? Nah, hablando en serio. Me pregunté, ¿cómo sabe Stanley el código? Justamente la única manera de saberlo es que me lo haya dicho la voz que está describiendo cada paso que doy. O sea que el personaje literalmente es consciente de que esa voz está sonando. No es una voz fuera del juego. Esa fue la primera vez que sentí que había empezado a perder 3 cosas. Libertad, rumbo y dinero en Steam. Eso es Stanley Parable. Un camino en el que vas a estar constantemente intentando desafiar a un narrador que dicta tus acciones.
Stanley walked straight ahead through the large door that read,
Sí, pero aquí es cuando te mata. Escapar.
Vas a intentar buscar tu propio camino, esquivando la narración y tratando de ser más inteligente, pero ya no que la voz, sino que el propio juego, porque eso es justamente lo que se quiere conseguir. Stanley Parable puede verse desde muchos puntos de vista. Podemos verlo como una crítica de la industria de los videojuegos, podemos verlo como una reflexión sobre la libertad, o incluso una obra que sabe perfectamente que en sí misma es un videojuego y se aprovecha de eso usando al jugador como carnada. Venimos escuchando desde hace rato el hecho de que un juego tiene que darte libertad.
Zelda.
Libertad para elegir el sigilo o el combate directo, para decidir ir por un camino o ir por otro, para elegir una línea de diálogo racional o una sentimental, para usar la violencia o usar la violencia. Outer Wilds es un ejemplo claro de esto, de que vos elijas dónde, cuándo y qué lugar explorar, y que las consecuencias de tus actos no dependan de otra persona que de vos mismo. Por esa razón se potencia la sensación de libertad cuando te das cuenta de que hay un progreso más allá de unas instrucciones dadas por el propio juego. Alien Isolation, por el contrario, es un título donde la libertad se usa para darte miedo. Curioso, ¿no? O sea, podés recorrer los pasillos de la nave y entrar a alguna que otra cabina, pero aún así no estás sintiéndote seguro. Sencillamente porque el juego no es que te encierra, sino que te dice, anda por donde quieras, y vos sabés que podés ir por donde quieras, pero también sabés que estás siempre en peligro, vayas a donde vayas. Es ese peligro el que te hace sentir menos libre. Por ejemplo, Teardown en este momento no me está dando libertad para decidir. Yo quiero decidir que mi PC deje de emitir humo, pero no puedo. Stanley Parable nos invita a reflexionar sobre esa libertad en un entorno virtual, pero más que nada en la vida misma, si lo querés ver desde ese punto de vista. Ahora bien, si lo vemos desde otro punto de vista, según tengo entendido, el creador...
A ver, tiene muchos finales, son 6 horas. Pero pues sí, es una crítica a la libertad en los videojuegos.
Everyone when he knew it perfect. Eager. It's incredible. The new feature is thoughts out, read.
¿Qué? Qué loco.
Here, let's try something. Let's pop.
Pero bueno, pues supongo que es jugarlo así muchas veces. Más. Pero bueno. 1 hora 16.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left. Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office. Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office. Okay, I think we all know the drill by now. Blah, blah, blah. Dark secrets, the keypad. Stanley pushes some buttons. Oh, hey. That means, why did you come this? Make a choice. Your respect. Because you did a couple.
Ok, entonces sí es el final bueno, ¿no? Bueno, porque es el único final que hice. O sea, vencí al narrador. Lo que vale la pena. Déjame busco un end stream.